Well, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, although maybe a little. Mostly that scalpers really haven't learned anything from the Switch 2 situation that's unfolded over the last couple of months, and how much different things are now when it comes to supplying some of these systems for their launch, specifically removed from the whole pandemic situation where Microsoft and Sony really weren't able to stock anything for PS5 and Xbox Series systems because of the supply chain disruption. It's pretty clear we're past that now, again with the Switch 2 stuff, but the scalpers haven't learned. We're going to go over that here today, along with, yes, some of the Xbox Ally stuff that's going crazy because, yes, we got that pricing. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. First, though, let's head over here. This is the Xbox Ally page, and we had the two variants priced out. We have the Xbox Ally. That's the 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of onboard storage, SSD, of course. That one's coming in at $599.99, so we'll just say $600. And then the Xbox Ally X, 24 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD storage. That is coming in at $999.99, $1,000. So the news for this hit pretty hard. Now, I was already kind of in that realm for the pricing. I thought 900 would have been best case scenario, believe it or not, for this Xbox Ally X, mostly because we have the Ally X, and that came in at 900, and even the just the regular ROG Ally, that's gone up in price. It was kind of quietly done, but those have also gone up a little bit in terms of their suggested retail price over the last few months. So it was very difficult to envision them getting this handheld down lower than 900, okay? And when I saw this go up online, originally we thought it might be 900 because there was some price discussion and apparent retailer tags that got out there, but no, it's coming in at $1,000. The one that's actually more disappointing to me is the Ally coming in at 600. I thought there was a bit of an opportunity maybe to lower the floor price because look, the Ally X was always going to be viewed as the more expensive, more premium handheld, and the Ally, the Xbox Ally, was always going to be viewed as the entry level, as in the floor price. So that's the one I was hoping to see more aggressively priced, but it appears that as this one up in price to 900 from what we were originally expecting, or best case scenario, this followed. I think the price we saw for this that was kind of going around was $550. I thought this would have been good at $499. I don't know, even that sounds expensive, but really, if you look at it, that's what the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World is going for. And we've seen what these PC gaming handhelds end up priced at now with some $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. We saw the one that dropped that was over $2,000, and the battery pack is separate on it. It's crazy world out there for these PC gaming handhelds. So technically, this at $600, depending on how it performs, it's actually on the lower end, as crazy as that sounds now, but that's really what it's going to come down to, because if you look at some of the specifications for it, I mean, it's certainly behind what we have with the Ally X, and that's what you would expect for the difference of $400. Really, it's going to come down to how this Z2A processor is able to perform with access to slower memory, and it also isn't leveraging stuff like AI that we see the Ally X doing. So I'm curious as to how this, because they both use the same screen, a 7-inch 1080p IPS display, not OLED, by the way, 500 nits, 120 hertz refresh rate, basically what we have in the ROG Ally now anyway. So very similar screen there, probably even, might even be the same screen. But with that in mind, I would assume the Xbox Ally right here would probably be aiming at 720p in some of the more demanding games, and then would just upscale as best it can to the 1080p display, 7-inch. And then the Ally X would probably go for more of that native 1080p experience. So I've thought about this, and I'm going to do my best to try to get one of these. All right, so that's mostly because I want to do a teardown. I'm very curious about some of the engineering going on in here. The thing I noticed about the Ally X versus the regular Ally back when I did teardowns of those is Asus was really thoughtful about how they put together and then improved the Ally X versus the original ROG Ally. And I'm curious if they did some other stuff here along with Microsoft, maybe to improve it further. So things like cooling and even positioning of like the thumbsticks, getting to those maybe for replacements, repairability seemed to be a big thing that Asus talked to us about when we went to the event. I'm curious. I'm going to do my best to try to get one of these and I guess tear it down and see what we got. And of course, just, play some games on it. But after these went live with the $1,000 Xbox Ally X, something happened that surprised some people. It seemed to be selling out. Okay, so this was a message that was posted by Xbox saying the hype is real. ROG Xbox Ally X pre-orders are sold out on the Xbox store worldwide. They say you can still grab yours at asus.com/store or find a local retailer on xbox.com. So people saw this and immediately went, whoa, people are buying tons of those to make them sell out. Well, they would be buying more than what are provided. Clearly, that's how you get a sellout. But it doesn't necessarily mean that millions of them are selling. We really don't know how many were provided. I mean, the $1,000 price point is a pretty big barrier of entry for people to just kind of buy on a whim with a pre-order without any kind of independent reviews out there. And if you're curious about these things, I would recommend that you hold off and wait for reviews. I think that's pretty clear. And for most of you, I'm sure that's kind of the strategy. It's like, well, let's see how these do. Especially, again, that Z2A chipset. That's gonna be kind of interesting. Even though I know people are probably really curious about the Ally X, the Xbox Ally X, because it'll go for the high performance target. I get it. But the thing you should absolutely not be doing is searching for these systems online for places like eBay, because get this, they're already trying to be scalped online for more than double at times. I was surprised that some of these scalpers were really going for it to this degree. $2,500 for these, again, are pre-orders. Now, the system comes out in less than a month, and that was, to my understanding, eBay's policy. The system has to be coming out in the next 30 days for you to be able to list it as a pre-order. So this all, I believe, falls into their terms of service. So these are legit listings. $2,500, $2,400, even $800. I'm like, oh, here's the thing, okay? People have bought these, but I saw this. I said, "Oh, come on!" Somebody paid $1,775 or $1,600. It's too much. Also, I just checked for this Xbox Ally X at Best Buy in my area, and it's still in stock to pre-order. I can pick it up release day if I want to. So, just go there instead of buying one of these listings. We already got word that they will be restocking these as soon as next week. Here's the difference between now versus when the PS5 and the Xbox Series, you could even kind of say the ROG Ally. That kind of went through it a bit. The difference then, we had major supply chain disruption. That's why we saw the PS5 skyrocket to 4 times more than it was being sold for. Like, I remember, we have videos, you can go back and look, where we saw PS5 selling for $1,500 up to $2,000 because they were impossible to get. No store knew when they were going to get more. And even Sony was like, we're trying here, guys. We are. But there's not much we can do with how things are behind the scenes, just sourcing not only factories to make them in, but the parts themselves. Again, things were really messed up behind the scenes logistically. That is no longer really the case. We saw this with the Switch 2. I do believe the Switch 2 is selling well, and I think it's going to sell well throughout the holiday season. I believe Nintendo may even raise their 15 million unit target. But the thing is, they are getting these out to stores very frequently. I mean, I see turnover constantly at any of the stores around me right now, your Walmarts, Best Buys, etc. They have stock, then they don't have stock, then they have stock again, like the next week. So Nintendo clearly has no issue getting these out. And that was the last major release we saw for a console, like big new flagship system generation launching. And they've just been rolling them out. People who want to Switch 2 can find them. Which is good. I'd prefer to have that, obviously, because they don't have to deal with all these scalpers out there. And with the PS5 being very plentiful now, they continue to sell. So at this time, we seem to have left that era behind us where you had to legitimately buy, maybe for the holidays or something. People were just buying from scalpers because it was impossible to find. No longer. So the obvious thing here now, by the way, if you look online on eBay for Switch 2s, they just $400 to $450, $500, like that's it. They're just regular retail price. There's no reason for a scalper to go out and buy a Switch 2 and store it they happen to find and then try to flip it online because it's just not going to happen. We'll see with the holiday season because you never know. Massive spike in demand. All of a sudden it's the hottest item for the holidays, and then you have demand outweigh the stock that's available. That could do it. But I would assume this ROG Xbox Ally X is going to continue to be brought back into stock, and I don't think it'll be an issue even after reviews go live. And let's say they're super positive. Even at that time, I think you'll see a pretty consistent flow of these systems get back in stock. So I would not recommend buying, obviously, from any of these scalpers online. And I'd kind of just leave them holding the bag, because I think that's what's going to happen once again. Very similar here to the Switch 2. So there we are with the Ally X. We do have a $1,000 handheld coming out. Although people keep trying to figure out, they keep going back and forth. Is it a PC? Is it an Xbox? And I guess that kind of works in either way to Microsoft's marketing slogan right now, where everything's an Xbox. So nobody's wrong, I guess, either way. But let me know what you guys think about all this down below with the pricing for the Xbox Ally X, starting with the Ally starting at $600, the Ally X at $1,000. Did those price points surprise you, or were you kind of expecting it, especially after seeing things recently like the Lenovo Legion Go 2 and its more than $1,000 price tag? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.